Away from home for Tottenham. Disappointment for Marco Silva. The target, he said, was 40 points. They're only 9 short of that, with another 17 games left in their season. But it is goal 199 in the Premier League for Harry Kane. 11 of those have come in 1-0 victories, and slowly but surely he's getting closer to becoming the outstanding record breaker for Spurs. Tonight he moves level with Jimmy Greaves, 266 now in a Spurs shirt. Extraordinary. He is one of their own, they adore him, and they do not want this relationship to end. And Spurs are right in the hunt. Only 3 points behind Manchester United and Newcastle United, albeit they've played 1 game more. It's Brighton in 6th, then Fulham stay in 7th place. Terrific return from them on their first season back in the Premier League. 31 points from their 21 games. Who says he's lost his passion? Antonio Conte. What do you make of that, Gary?
Look, I think from that you can see how important it is. It's been a pretty difficult last 6-7 days, 8 days for Spurs. North London derby, going obviously 2-up at City and then getting obliterated in the second half. You're never going to start with a blistering performance. You need to just get on the winning track, and they've done that tonight. It was massive for Tottenham. And I said before the start of this game, this can be a really good 2 months for Tottenham, but they've got to build from somewhere, and I think they've got to lose that sulk. Conte showing that little bit of passion there is important to them.
Not their best performance, but how important those 3 points?
Very important, huge. You see, the top 4, and yeah, we talk about Tottenham. I think Gary mentioned before the start of the show that Tottenham should be winning trophies, but we know it's a long time since they won trophies. So the success for Tottenham for over the last 10 years has been when Harry Redknapp got them into the Champions League. Pochettino done it sort of season after season. They got there last season with Conte. So for Tottenham to get into the top 4, it's always a successful season in my eyes for a Tottenham manager. So as I said, they're not far away. There's still a long way to go, but he'll want to improve on the performance, of course. But Gary was right. When you've had a couple of bad defeats, you just need to get that win.
Still juggling cup competitions as well in the Champions League and the FA Cup, away to Preston next. And after that, the Premier League returns with Friday night football, and we watch Fulham again, another derby for them. This time away to Chelsea. That's on February the 3rd. Saturday night football, Newcastle United taking on West Ham United. Can their unbeaten run continue? And Super Sunday returns with Forest and Leeds. And Spurs taking on Manchester City. Following us tonight is Deadline Day, a Sky original following football's transfer window. Give that a watch at 11 o'clock on Sky Sports Premier League, and available right now on Sky Atlantic, The Last of Us. Reaction from Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher in just a moment, and from Craven Cottage as well. A triumphant night for Tottenham, thanks to Harry Hotspur.
Bet365.
Son frustrated on the touchline as his side is on the back foot. Kane! Clinical! Just as he's always been. 266 for Tottenham, and level with one of the men of 66, Jimmy Greaves.
It was just a matter of time, wasn't it? And Harry Kane has tonight drawn level with Jimmy Greaves. 266 goals for Spurs. That's just extraordinary, isn't it?
It is, but listen, it feels like it's gone so quick, but year after year he delivers, doesn't he? He's always there getting sort of 25, 30 goals a season, and we've seen players for years, and we'll see it in the future, having 1 or 2 seasons. But when you think of the absolute greats, not of Tottenham, of the Premier League, of the First Division, you can go back further, and we are doing, looking at Jimmy Greaves, that he is one of the best we've seen. There's no doubt about that. And I think at the end of his career, he'll go past Jimmy Greaves' record. We know that. He'll go down as Tottenham's greatest ever player.
There was just an air of inevitability when he had that touch when he found that little bit of space, the ball was going to end up in the back of the net.
Just predictable. He's the most reliable of finishers. I've said this before, it's the highest compliment I can pay him that Alan Shearer, I played with England, was the unbelievable finisher. And the thing for me was the mentality of Shearer, and I think Harry's got that same mentality, which, to be fair, is the highest compliment you can pay.
And he's got Preston away next, and then it's Manchester City at home. Where is he going to break this record finally and make it 200 in the Premier League as well? Well, I'm delighted to say Harry Kane is now ready to speak to us at Craven Cottage. Harry, congratulations on tonight and also on equalling Jimmy Greaves' record. Before we get into that, though, how important was it for Spurs to be winning this game tonight, Harry?
Yeah, first and foremost, thank you. Yeah, it was a tough game, really important 3 points for us today, coming off the back of the last two results. So not an easy place to come. We're playing against a really good side who are only one spot behind us. So we dug deep. You know, it was a tough week, but a great clean sheet and a good 1-0 win. Well,
you say a tough week, Harry. Obviously, losing any North London derby is going to be difficult, but then the City game, and in particular that second half, conceding those 4 goals, just what has the atmosphere been like amongst the team? How low was the group after that?
Yeah, I think it's been difficult. I think, whenever you give away a lead, no matter a 2-goal lead at half-time, it's always a little bit harder to take. But I think today we wanted to just get back to basics, you know. Clean sheets are really important for us if we're going to, stay near the Champions League spots. And that's what we spoke about, just being compact, suffering together at times. And we know we're going to get chances and hopefully one of us can take it. So, we just had to get back to what we're kind of got us into the Champions League last year. And tonight was a good sign.
And you've equalled this incredible record with a typical Harry Kane moment tonight. The monitor's just to your right there, Harry. We're going to have a look at it with you. It looked like you were just checking your shoulder. 3 times you did it. Were you just looking to see the space was there behind you?
Yeah, I think you can see there. I can see Sonny's got a bit of space because the defender has to kind of stay with me because I'm behind him. And then, once Sonny gets the ball, I'm just trying to get myself in a position where I can get half a yard and, maybe pinning the defender, something that's come into my game a bit more the last year or so.
So you're trying to draw him in a little bit there?
Yeah, I'm just kind of pointing with my hand there. You can see, just I want it on my left. And I know if I can get half a yard, I can get my shot away. And I use the defender just well enough just to bend it round him. And it's hard for the keeper then because he's kind of unsighted to see how quick I've hit it. So it was a nice goal.
Harry, as this ball's just about to come into you now, do you already know that you're thinking, I'm going to get this onto my right foot, no matter sort of where the defender is, or is it because of the defender's position also?
Yeah, I think because where the defender is, that kind of yard or 2 yards there, I know I can touch that inside and it'll be hard for him to get really tight, especially being in the box, because obviously you can, one bad tackle, it can be a foul. So I knew there was a bit of space there, so if I could just get it out of my feet, I kind of just was able to bend it into that far corner.
And you talk us through the finish? Is it just using the player there?
Yeah, I think so. I think, I train a lot with my finishing, and whether that's with mannequins or in training in general against opposition, those type of finishes are really important because the keeper's unsighted, and obviously that one was right in the corner, but sometimes it doesn't even have to be into the corner. It wasn't one where I could kind of go back through the legs. It was just bend it as much as I can, and thankfully there's enough on it.
You don't look up, Harry. You know where the goal is. Is that just the instinct that comes from all that repetitive training?
Yeah, for sure. I've been playing football long enough now to know where the goal is. So that's just instincts. That's being a striker, and just the joy of scoring goals.
And having equal the record, we wondered if there was going to be a chance for you. I suppose this was it, Harry. I think we thought it might be the moment. What about you?
Yeah, no, it was. I should have scored it, really. It was just didn't have a lot of pace on the ball, so I maybe could have just let it drop onto my left foot and volleyed that. But obviously, in the moment, I thought the header was the best way of getting a quick shot away. And I knew that defender was there, so I couldn't really go low with it. I probably should have just went back across goal a little bit more, just where the keeper's momentum was taken in that way. It would have been nice if that one went in.
Harry, you've obviously got the FA Cup next, but we don't do the FA Cup, so there's any chance you can speak to the manager and maybe just miss that and try and get that goal against Man City?
We'll see what happens. You know, I'm always ready to play no matter what. So FA Cup's an important competition for us this year. You know, with the team we have, we have a chance in every competition. But last season was disappointing. We went away to Middlesbrough and got knocked out. So it'll be a tough game away from home. So I'll be ready. We'll see what the manager does, but I can't promise anything.
Harry, your partnership with Son's been one of the best over the last 5 years in the Premier League. It's been absolutely unbelievable. That was just tonight. The goal that you scored was just the second assist that he's given you this season. Are teams doing something differently against you, or is it how you're playing yourselves in terms of the team and the style of play that's meaning it's a little bit more difficult for you both?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both. I think we had that year a couple of seasons ago where, you know, we both had a lot of goals and assists with each other, and for sure since then teams have been a lot more switched on to it. They know if I'm dropping deep, Sonny's more than likely going to be the one I'm looking for. So yeah, it's a bit of both, and yeah, you know, sometimes you go through moments where everything just clicks for you, and every shot that you kind of pass to him or he passes to me, it goes in. So it was nice to get another contribution with each other today, and it's important for Sonny. You know, Sonny's working hard, and he got his goal the other day. It was nice for him to get an assist, and we need everyone contributing as much as possible if we want to be up there in the Champions League spots.
Before the start of the game tonight, I said that there's a massive 2 months coming up for Spurs, and it can still be a great season, even though there's been a little bit of doom and gloom in the last couple of weeks. Is the sort of fitness work that you do under Antonio Conte, do you think you're better suited to get stronger as the season goes on, and that you'll really start to kick on now?
Yeah, well, we do a lot of fitness work for sure. So I'm hoping that's the case. I mean, it kind of. That's what happened for us last year. We come real strong towards the end of the season and managed to get that Champions League spot. So, yeah, I think, like I touched on earlier, just getting back to what we're good at, you know, clean sheets, being compact, being tough to break down, and then being ready, whether it's on the counter-attack or, you know, creating chances like we did tonight in the final third. So, hopefully we can use this victory today as a bit of momentum. Obviously, there's a bit of a gap between the next Premier League game, but plenty of games coming up, and there's a long way to go, and there's still a lot to play for this year.
That's right, Harry. It could still be a fantastic end to Spurs' season. Just finally, I want to ask you one on the manager, Antonio Conte. We saw a really emotional reaction from him at the full-time whistle tonight. It's felt at times recently that he's been a bit low as well, Harry. Do you, as a senior figure at the club, sometimes have to show him some support?
Yeah, for sure. I think you know, he's been through a difficult time, I guess, outside of football with his personal life, and you know, being part of a team is not just the players on the pitch, it's the manager, it's the staff, and being there for each other. And you know, we want to win every game for him. He puts so much passion and effort into every game, every training session, and we want to repay him with victories. And like I said, we had a good meeting amongst ourselves and the manager during the week, just to talk amongst ourselves to get back to what we're good at. And yeah, look, we're going to keep fighting. You know, the manager's a fighter. He's a really passionate manager, and we just got to keep working hard for him.
Harry, congratulations on equalling the record. You've been really generous with your time as well tonight. Thank you so much.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
And congratulations as well, of course, on a really important victory. Interesting that he's just revealed at the end there about that meeting that he suggested with the manager as well. Perhaps a bit of a clear the air, a bit of back to basics.
I think that sometimes that comes in a season where it gets to a point where you say, look, we've still got it all in front of us. I think when you showed us those fixtures before the game and you see AC Milan, FA Cup games, big league games, and you think that they're only sort of like a few points off the Champions League, 3 points off the Champions League. They're in a good place. If you said to us at this stage of the season with 17, 18 games to go, this is where Tottenham would be. 5th place, 3 points off the Champions League in the next round of the Champions League against AC Milan and in the FA Cup. You'd say, yeah, that's probably about right. That could work. I don't think you'd be so sort of like you say doom and gloom about it as actually it is. Obviously something's not quite right in this last few weeks, but I do anticipate they will get stronger as the season goes on. I mean, look, we don't know, but I think that they could be okay, Spurs. The football's just a little bit flat at times, and they need that spark back in the football, whether it's through Son, Richarlison, Kulusevski obviously has come back into the team now. They just need that little bit more of inventive play and creative play up front.
Could that be as simple as confidence, Jamie? They've been on such a poor run of results.
Tonight, in terms of the performance, I think what Gary's talking about, maybe a style of player or how you go about things, is a bigger discussion and a wider discussion on sort of Antonio Conte and his suitability for Tottenham in some ways. But I think in terms of tonight, we've all been there as players when you're on a bad run. That meeting they had midweek, obviously we don't know what was said there, but we've been there with managers before where it's not about a performance, it's about results, and then you sort of build from there. A bit more confidence, a bit more belief, and then you look at the table yourself as a player. The players will pick the papers up in the morning, see where they are, and the reaction when they come in the training, I'll be, it's not too bad at the moment, is it? Look where we are, and we've been there as players. So, yeah, tonight was just about getting a result. And listen, let's not forget, I know Fulham have been promoted, but it's not an easy place to go. Lots of people have struggled teams. Liverpool started the season, I think, up sort of Man United almost took a last-minute winner
Chelsea
to go there. Chelsea beating there, so that's a tough place to go. Forget that it's a promoted team. Fulham now, Craven Cottage under Marco Silva, is a tough place to go, so it's a great victory.
Fulham, remember, who are 7th right now in the Premier League. Spurs still 5th, but edging ever closer to those Champions League places. And when we come back, we will hear from Antonio Conte. Do stay with us. Spurs have their first double of the season, a victory over Fulham tonight, and they are still fighting. The passion is still there for Antonio Conte, giving his reaction to Patrick Davison.
Well, Antonio, you wanted your team to be willing to suffer, to be more solid, certainly in terms of mentality, attitude. Did you get what you wanted from your team tonight?
Yeah. I had a good answer of my players. I asked to find again the solidity of the last season, the will they decide to fight, the will they decide to be resilient, and also if there is a good result to defend. And I think that I had a good answer because today we showed again when you play as a team. It's difficult to play against us, and in the last few games I was happy. I was happy for the performance of my teams, but at the same time, and we had to lose, and and against Arsenal, against City. Now we have 17 games, and today has to be a starting point for us, and to try to give everything, and then at the end we'll see what happens. We have 17 games in the Premier League, and we have to try. We have to try to stay in the race for a place in Champions League, and we have to try in FA Cup to go to next round, and another target, and also we want to play in Champions League and to do the same. For this reason, I said my players today has to be a starting point, and it was important in these days to speak, and also to explain the situation, because compared last season, we are continuing to score goals, because I repeat, we are the third attack, and but to concede 21 goals in only 10 games wasn't positive, and for this reason I'm really happy, because I had a good answer, I got a good response of my players.
You said it was important to speak, and Harry Kane's just done an interview where he talks about a team meeting. What did you say to the players, and how useful was that, getting them together?
But when I see this spirit, when I see this attitude, this desire to fight together and to help each other, and for me it's very important, because I know. And last season, in the last final of the season, and we totalized 41 points. We were the best team, and I don't remember how many goals we scored. We were the first team to score more goals, and the second team to concede the goal. And now I don't remember who was better than us. But if I want to to do well, if we want to continue to dream, for sure the first thing that we have to not to lose is the desire to be a team, to help each other, and because every time this happens, it's difficult then to play against us.
You've been through a really difficult period as a team and a club. You looked really emotional at full time. Can you tell us why that was?
No, but and it's normal during the season, and every team. Maybe in this season only Arsenal they didn't have a difficulty in this season. But they were out of Carabao, I think. But otherwise they are in all competition that they're playing. But during the season you can find a period to find more difficulty. But I know that in this period you can improve, you can build something important, and then now we are on the table. We are fifth. We are fifth on the table. I think that we are doing. We are keeping the expectation. But at the same time, I repeat, I want to try to fight until the end, and we'll see what happens at the end.
Is it fair to say that lately you haven't looked and maybe felt yourself in some of these interviews on the touchline as well?
Sorry, can you repeat?
You haven't been as energetic, you haven't seemed as happy being the Tottenham manager as you have previously.
No, but first of all, I'm really proud to be Tottenham manager, and I had this possibility, and to be the manager of an important club like Tottenham make me proud, and this has to be very clear for everybody, and for this reason I try to fight from the start until the end with my players, and we are a team that we work a lot, and I think under this aspect I can't tell anything about my players, but in the last period, and that was the stats, and I think that maybe we were sleeping because maybe we were losing some characteristic that last season was make us to stay in Champions League, and for this reason I spoke with my players, and but I have good players, but especially I have good men. They have to understand that if we want to try to fight until the end for important position and for something important, we have to be team in every moment, to help each other, and to show resilience, to show that we are ready to suffer. Today, not that today we have suffered a lot, but we were ready. We were ready to suffer, and for me this is important.
You're talking about the players there, but you're happy, are you? Because you'll have seen, I'm sure, reports over the weekend that you're likely to leave Tottenham at the end of the season. Are you happy in your job? You sound it. You sound happy and proud.
Yeah, but I'm happy. But I always said this: I'm happy and proud because when I accept to become a Tottenham manager, and I was happy, and I'm happy. And I repeat, in every moment, in every second of my day, my first thought are for my players, are for the club, the way to improve, to try to make also our fans proud of the team. Then Premier League is not simple. It's really difficult. You know that there are many clubs that they are ready to spend a lot of money to try to improve the team. But I think that we are in the right direction. And then we'll see. We'll see. The most important thing for me to work with my players, to have a good relationship with my club, and then I will see.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All the best.
Very interesting from Antonio Conte. Says, first of all, he's happy and proud to be the Spurs manager after a lot of press that suggested the contrary. And also he talked about this being a starting point, effectively a line in the sand after a difficult period for Spurs. Could this be a fresh start for them in what's been a tricky season?
Look, I think it needs to be, because there's this feeling that sort of he's not happy with the club. There's this feeling these rumours are coming out that he won't sign his new contract, that he obviously only has got a few months left. But just, I look at that and I think Tottenham are very lucky to have Antonio Conte. They got him into the Champions League last season. He's doing the job that, to be fair, they wanted. They're only a few points off the Champions League. And from Conte's point of view, what club is he going to get currently that's better than Tottenham Hotspur? They're in the Champions League. They've got the most unbelievable stadium, I think, in European football. He signed Basuma, he signed Kulusevski, he signed Richarlison, he signed Bentancur, he signed Romero. Probably missed one out, probably one more. He's 190 million quid's worth of signings in 2 windows, and that doesn't include Kulusevski, who's still on loan technically. Nearly £200 million has been spent in 2. So the idea that Spurs haven't supported him, again, is wrong and it's a myth. I think both of them should probably go and shake hands tomorrow, sign a 2 or 3 year deal, get themselves right, because it leaves like they're almost in some ways wandering down the road aimlessly as if they're sort of like not mates. Why would they not be mates? Conte's got Tottenham into the Champions League. He's also been given 200 million quid in back. He's been given the players that he wants. I'm not quite sure why this sort of, if you like, these dark clouds are appearing over Spurs.
Well, the supporters, we noticed it in the first half, continually singing for the owner to go.
I get that, and they're losing games.
Why do you get that then? If you get that, you're saying, well, what's the problem?
Well, my point is, at this moment in time, what's the manager? What's Conte's problem with Spurs? And what's Spurs' problem with Conte?
Well,
I don't know.
He has said repeatedly in press conferences recently that he would like to sign, if you want to be challenging for trophies, you need to be signing proven winners like Casemiro.
No, but my point is, though, Dave, look, at the end of the day, if you just said to me that you give Conte 200 million quid in 2 transfer windows at Tottenham Hotspur, I'd say he's been well supported based on what Tottenham have done in the past. So I don't think that's not being supported. I think that's been well supported. All right, they've not spent 400 million like other clubs may have done, like Chelsea have done, or like Manchester United have done. But let's be really clear, Manchester United panic signed Casemiro and Antony and overpaid in that period when they lost 4-0 to Brentford. Chelsea are about as chaotic as it gets at this moment in time, spending money left, right and centre, giving players 25-year contracts to amortise them over that length. At this moment in time, £200 million and those 6 players. If you just said to me 2 transfer wins ago, Conte would get that. They'd finish in the Champions League. They're 3 points off the Champions League now. They're playing AC Milan in a few weeks' time. I'd say this is going really well, but why is it feeling that it's not going well?
But when you're saying really well, I agree with you. And I said before, Tottenham getting in the top 4, we consider that a success. I don't think Conte sees that as success. He's a guy who...
But where's he going to go? Well, who's going to have him now?
Listen,
tell me what club in England's going to have him. What club? Barcelona and Real Madrid going to have him? No. What club in Germany's going to have him? Bayern Munich going to have him? No. Liverpool, Chelsea, City, Manchester United going to have him? No. So my point is...
Maybe he wants to be back in Italy.
He's at the best club he could possibly be at this moment in time.
I agree, everything that you've said.
But
Antonio Conte's mentality is, it's about winning. He's never going to accept even finishing 4th. If he got 4th to Tottenham every year, I don't think he'd be happy. He sees himself like Pep, like Klopp, like Jose Mourinho in terms of winning trophies.
Jamie,
let me just finish.
No, at the end of last season...
let me just finish 1 second. So you have clubs in this country who I think... I think what sort of City, Chelsea and Man United are is that if they bring a manager in, they could probably win tomorrow because they spend that much money. Whereas a Liverpool job, an Arsenal job and a Tottenham job is probably more of a building job. So Klopp's took every season getting closer. Arteta's had to do that. Tottenham's that club, and I don't think Conte's that manager.
We sat here 6 months ago, right, discussing what was going to happen this season. There's always a danger with predictions, and we'll find that out in a bit. But we sat here 6 months ago. We predicted that Tottenham, not Arsenal, Tottenham would be the club potentially, if anybody, that would go and challenge the top 2, Liverpool and City. That's what we said 6 months ago by the signings that have been made. We can't just all of a sudden become revisionist and say, oh, he's not been supported. We thought, all of us and lots in this country thought, Tottenham might be the ones that would push City and Liverpool. He's not done the job that Arteta's done this season with his squad. Now, my point is, who should be more disappointed with that? Conte, the club, the players?
We don't know who signed the players, for one. We don't know who chose the players.
You don't think Conte signed Perisic or Bentancur or Kulusevski or Richarlison? He signed them. There's no way you don't do that to Conte. He'd walk out in 10 minutes. I'm telling you now, even... Look, Levy's got some brass neck, but he'd tell you what, he wouldn't sign players on...
When they signed Jed Spence, he made it very clear that was not his signing.
I mean, it's very clear.
That was £20 million.
No, my point is...
But he hasn't even put him in the team, so so that's pretty obvious. But
yeah, those players he signed.
What you said is right. I always felt that Tottenham this season would almost take Chelsea's position as that team who would sort of challenge. And the problem is, even though they're in fifth and we're saying it's going really well, Tottenham fans are looking at Man United and probably looking at Arsenal from last season.
3 points off Man United.
Okay, Arsenal.
They're 3 points off them.
They're miles off Arsenal, though. They finished above Arsenal last season.
Because Arteta's done an unbelievable job this
I know,
season.
yeah.
They've shocked us all.
But you can't just, as a Tottenham fan, just go, oh, Arteta's done a great job, fantastic, that is it. They were laughing at them at the end of last season when they finished in the top 4. Arsenal look like they're going to win the title, and Tottenham are having a bit like doing okay.
If you said to me now, Tottenham would be 5th, as I said before, they're in the Champions League, they're in the FA Cup, I'd say they're on track for what I thought they would do. I don't know what the big problem is. It's what Conte does, to be fair, second, third season. It's what Levy does after second, third season. They almost, if you like, wish confrontation without actually needing to have it. I think they need to basically get themselves together. Obviously, the fans are not happy with Levy at this moment in time because they're singing about him all the time. But they almost need to come together and say, right, we've got an opportunity here to have a great season. They have.
Maybe he just wants to go home. Conte.
I do.
He just wants to go home.
I do. Look at it.
We lost 15 minutes tonight.
He's generally had a really difficult year. He's lost 3 people very close to him. He said repeatedly he wants to be closer to his family.
The personal
Maybe
stuff,
just
I
wants to
get
go
that.
back to Italy.
I get that. Look, Dave, if for personal reasons he needs to leave, no problem at all. I completely understand that. I'm talking about football.
But they could finish in style this season. Let's see if they have been predicted glory by Gary and Jamie in just a moment, because we're not done yet. We're not done.
Will Arsenal win the league?
Time for predictions.
No, I'm going home.
Predictions next.
Oh my, 11 o'clock, we're off.
Sponsored by Bet365.
Welcome back, everyone. Well done. Thank you for staying with us. Gary and Jamie are still here, and it's time to get their mid-season predictions, starting with who's actually going to win the title. Let's have the reveal. Jamie has gone with Arsenal, but Gary doesn't think Arsenal will win the title.
I get asked this every 10 minutes at the moment, who's going to win the league, as if I'm going to change my mind from 10 minutes before.
Why are you not convinced by the latest evidence?
What do you mean? Look,
well, the dominant performance
David,
they showed against Manchester United.
Look, even from Arsenal fans, they must be getting tired of it. Mikel Arteta must be getting tired of getting asked title questions 19 games in. Right, honestly, if they'd have drawn the game yesterday by not scoring that last goal, they deserved to win that game yesterday, by the way, but if they'd have drawn that game, we'd have obviously, City are only 3 points off them, they're in trouble. That was so far out for us to be talking about this. I'm getting asked it every 10 minutes at this moment in time. I feel like this is a more traditional season. I feel that. And I feel that, to be fair, I'm just going back to my own experiences many times whereby I don't think City have started properly yet in terms of being serious about this season. I think they're still messing around a little bit. I think the manager's still rotating, not got Diaz on the pitch, Laporte on the pitch, De Bruyne all the time on the pitch, Foden is not quite there. When they start to purr, which I'm thinking at some point they will, because they're great players and they're serious about what they do, that they'll start to motor on and they'll really hunt City down and put pressure on. We used to do it at times. Now, there were times where that didn't work. Blackburn held us off and got there. Newcastle didn't. And I don't know what's going to happen at the end of this season. Arsenal could hold Manchester City off, but I don't think they will once it starts, the real running. And the running's not starting for another 9 games, by the way. It's not going to start till like April. So that's my view. I'm not going to say it again. I'm not going to do any more predictions on Sky Sports. For the first 7 years on Sky, I never did predictions. This is the reason why.
That's why he's now looking a clown.
I nearly got booted out of what's it called, the stadium yesterday, at Emirates.
Why is he wrong?
The thing for me is with Arsenal, and I think for so long of the season, almost everybody has felt Man City would win the league because they've been there before. I think the thing with Arsenal for me is it's not just the points gap at the minute, and there's still a long way to go, I get that. It's the actual performances in big games. And I think if you go from sort of the World Cup finishing, I think they beat West Ham at home, which is a game you'd expect them to win. But then the next, I think, 4 games, I think Brighton away is one of those games that you can easily draw. You know, they're a decent team at the moment. They go there and just obliterate them, really. They got a few goals late on. Newcastle at home, they get a draw. And I said at the time, there's nothing to panic about. Newcastle are the best defensive team in the league at the moment. They go to the biggest rivals away. And it's not just winning. They're not like just getting over the line. They sort of went there and really done a job on them. And yesterday, they just got over the line, yes, in terms of getting a last-minute winner. But they were streets ahead of Manchester United in terms of how they played. And I'm going for Arsenal because of the points. Obviously a big difference. I mean, if it was level points now, you'd think, oh, City will then go on and do it. But I just think the Champions League with City, the way City are playing, we all expect them to kick in, but you're thinking, when is that going to happen? I think it will, of course. But I think if you're a player, and you can tell me this, if you're a player at Manchester City and they're getting spoken about that, you've not won the Champions League, they've won the league 4 times out of 5. Once they start getting to March and April and you start getting to quarter-final, semi-final of Champions League, and don't forget, Arsenal in the Europa League, it's a big difference. I just can't help but think those City players know if they won the Champions League, it doesn't matter if they haven't won the league in some ways. It's only, for me, it's a bigger trophy. So I just think Arsenal will pip them.
Look, there is that danger, City with the Champions League, that obsession that they may have internally with winning it, and Haaland's been signed to win it, and Pep needs to win it. But I saw their bench the other night against Spurs, and they had Foden, De Bruyne, Diaz, Laporte. I can't remember, there's another one on there that was ridiculous as well. Cancelo, Walker. I thought they could easily... They've done that Champions League and that sort of Premier League journey. Look, one thing else is I've done 3 Arsenal games since the World Cup. Done Newcastle, Spurs in London Derby and Manchester United yesterday. In all 3 games, I've been impressed for different reasons. The first one against Newcastle, because they were persistent, they were patient, they carried on doing the right things, and it just didn't quite work for them. I thought the second half, forget the first half against Tottenham where they played really well. The second half, where it could have been awkward for them, they managed that game and controlled it really well, and they showed good game management in a difficult atmosphere. Because if Tottenham had got a goal, that would have been red hot. On Sunday against United, they got a couple of punches back. Shocked. Rashford's one, the Martinez goal, but they responded to going a goal down. They responded to be getting level, and again persisted with their football right to the end. And played great football. So for me, for 3 different reasons in 3 different games, I've been massively impressed with them. However, doing that with young players towards the end of a season with 10 games to go when they've never won a title before, that's where we need to see it. And until that happens, I won't have seen the evidence that I believe they can win the title. But they've got an unbelievable chance. I can't believe they're in the chat. I can't believe they're in the chat for the title. That's where I was. We didn't have them in our top 4 at the start of the season, both of us, by the way. So we both know how well they're doing. This is not.
You haven't got them in your top 2.
Pardon?
You haven't got them in your top 2.
Relax. You didn't have them in your top 4 at the start of the season.
What's that got to do with anything?
Let's have a look then at the top 4. What they've gone with.
That's not necessarily in that order. I mean, it could.
It is in that order.
Do you actually think that Manchester United are going to finish above Arsenal?
I don't know.
You did say it the other day.
Yeah, last week. To be fair, it was 6 points ago where United could have beaten Crystal Palace and Arsenal with Casemiro in. They might have had a better chance, but Arsenal were far better than Manchester United yesterday. I've got no complaints whatsoever. But they could have been 3 points behind Arsenal. Sat here when I said that last Sunday. I'm still going to stick my prediction because then they're the predictions. You can be wrong with predictions.
Oh, we know. You want to hear what he said about Messi in the green room today?
Here's a man who said that Martinez...
Hang on. No, let's focus on this.
Here's a man that said Martinez should beat United and Rashford should be sold.
Here's Newcastle.
Why do you think Newcastle are not then Spurs?
I just think they're not involved in European football, and whenever I watch Newcastle play now, the energy...
They'll finish top 4 Newcastle?
Yeah. Again, probably similar to Arsenal. I've been that impressed with them. They are defensively the best team in the league, so we're not talking about some easy touch and Newcastle of old who are scoring goals, but they're all over the place. They're very organised. The energy they play with when I watch them play, even against Crystal Palace, they dropped 2 points. They battered them. The chance, more often than not, you win that game. Now, of course, Tottenham could get there, someone else could get there, but I just think no European football. I think the home games, the atmosphere, it feels like there's a togetherness and something between them and the crowd that maybe I don't see with Tottenham.
Have you ruled your mob out then? Have they done?
No, I don't think Liverpool will get top 4.
But they're only 10 points behind United.
Only 10 points?
With a game
Arsenal are only 8
with
points.
With a game in hand.
How many points before you say someone can't do something?
With a game in hand. With a game in hand. It's nothing.
Liverpool, my point is, you're talking about points difference and you're talking about teams coming back to what they playing to where they were last season. Liverpool are not playing well enough.
When they get the players back, though, they've got loads of players missing.
Well, they get attacking players to come back.
But you've not put them in your top 4.
Liverpool,
no, I'm just saying. I mean, if you're at Newcastle, I would. 4. I think if you're at Newcastle, I probably would. Look, I mean, it's unbelievable where Newcastle are, by the way, Eddie Howe. It's no disrespect to them, but I think it'll be unbelievable for them to continue and maintain that to the end of the season.
No, it will be, but I just think the energy they're playing with, every time I watch them play, I'm impressed by them. And no, I think
We haven't asked you who you think is going to get relegated because you get upset about that.
I shouldn't have started doing predictions for the top, let alone the bottom.
We've asked instead which one of the bottom 4 sides they think is most likely to survive. So that's the current bottom 4 we're talking about: Wolves, Bournemouth, Everton and Southampton.
Bashir blue and white army will stay up.
Gary's backing Everton to survive and Jamie thinks Wolves. What gives them the advantage?
I just think the manager's come in and done a really good job getting a really tough team to beat. I think his experience in terms of managing Seville, Real Madrid, Spain, he's a top manager. And I just think when you actually still look at some of the quality, certainly in midfield, Neves, Moutinho. But listen, I haven't got a clue who the Everton manager's going to be. Who knows what he's going to be.
I don't think Wolves will go down either, by the way, for that matter, just to make it clear. I don't you know what I mean?
Who do you think will?
No.
What if Bielsa went in at Everton?
It'd be fun. I mean, I still think we can see the remnants of Bielsa at Leeds now. I always like watching Leeds play. I mean, I never thought I'd say that.
Do you think Bielsa would be a good move for Everton?
I tell you what he'll do. He'll lift that dressing room and he'll lift the crowd, won't he? Because the football will just all of a sudden become.
It'll be energetic.
It is being reported on Sky Sports News that he is the #1 target for Everton right now. So watch this space. We'll see what happens there. What about Player of the Year? I'm guessing this is a bit easier. But it wasn't that straightforward, Jamie, was it? Because although he's a goal machine, Haaland, there's plenty of others that have impressed you.
He chose Odegaard.
No, but what I was trying to say is, I think all the players will vote for Haaland. That's what I'm trying to say.
Who are you going to vote for?
No,
have your own mind.
I think Odegaard at Arsenal has been absolutely sensational. But I just know what players like. I've been in the dressing room when they get the thing. Obviously, Haaland scored so many goals. He's been amazing, and I totally get it. But I just think if Arsenal won the title, I think the role of Odegaard has been sensational. I think he's brilliant. I think he's the closest thing to Kevin De Bruyne. You know, that player, every time he gets the ball, you think something's going to happen. Yesterday, he was fantastic. He was unbelievable.
Joey, I think we asked each other that question earlier on today. Which player would you take out the Arsenal team and you think would do them the most damage if they lost them? And obviously, you probably would have said Jesus maybe a few weeks ago, but Nketiah, I think, has been unbelievable. But if I looked at them now, I think I'd say Partey. Having watched him in the 3 games since Christmas, I think if he was out of that,
he was the one that Merson was worried about. I think.
Honestly, I watched him I've seen a lot more than that, but in these 3 games I've seen live since Christmas, I look at him and think he's holding a lot together in terms of the glue between the back 4 and obviously that Odegaard and strikers.
That is the big worry because Arsenal have been very lucky. Well, they say lucky.
Well,
maybe the medical, the sports science. They've been fortunate with injuries, with the same team can play.
7 players have played every game.
Yeah, so week in, week out.
If
they ever got sort of 2 or 3 players out at the same time, sort of like what Chelsea and probably Liverpool have got right now, that would be I'm not sure they wouldn't get across the line, I don't think, but that is vital for them. That's why I think Europa League and the FA Cup at the weekend, how strong does he go? Does he almost go? It's not.
It's another factor to that though, why I think as well, because they are finely tuned in the sense of Europa League. What's he going to do with the FA Cup? Obviously, the decisions he'll make, and if he does get 2 or 3 injuries, which every other club gets, all the other clubs get, then it could just go really badly wrong quite quickly.
Would you forget those?
I would forget the Europa League because the whole point of the Europa League is not the trophy. The biggest thing for clubs is getting in the Champions League. Arsenal are in the Champions League next year. Forget the Europa League.
I'm not sure Mikel Arteta will see it like that. The trophy will be serious.
Mikel, if you're watching now, get out that Europa League because Arsenal could spend 200 million in the summer and they won't be in this position next season. I'm not saying they'll be miles away, but they will not be 5, maybe 8 points clear halfway through a season.
They aren't going to want to lose to Man City either.
I agree with him on that. Do you know something? I was thinking that before. You talk about young managers breaking into these sort of super managers like Pep Guardiola, Klopp, Conte, these league winners. Who does it? You know, we're trying to get managers, obviously young managers, up to that standard in the Premier League. It's damn tough. Mikel Arteta's got an unbelievable chance to break. And all of a sudden, you win the league with Arsenal, you're into Barcelona territory, you're into the sort of super manager territory where you've achieved something magical. So it's a massive few months for him. But to be fair, I think finishing second, he still had the most unbelievable season. If he did...
What if he finishes third?
I'd still say that at the start of the season. Imagine.
He could still win Manager of the Year, couldn't he?
He will win Manager of the Year.
He's given Arteta Manager of the Year! How can he be a Manager of the Year if you put him third? Do you think he's manager of the year if he finishes third?
Right, the reason Arteta is the manager of the year if he finishes third, second or first is because at the end of last season I thought he was in significant trouble. As
you pretty much wrote him off on a Monday Night Football, didn't you?
Sorry, and he said the same, by the way, let's be clear. He said he thinks he'd be in big trouble this season.
Yeah.
We both said it.
But the whole point of football is you then watch something happening different, so you
if he
change your
finished
view.
first, second or third, I'd say that's still a great season. Now, I know Arsenal fans from this position, and maybe even Mikel Arteta would say, oh, that'd be disappointing now from where they are, second or third. But it would be a big, great season. It would be. Arteta manager of the year. What more do you want?
Finishing third? I don't think so.
Second even.
How can you give him manager of the year if he ends up third from this position?
But those predictions may not come out, Jamie.
I know they won't.
All right, that's it for the mid-season.
Tell us your real thoughts on Messi in the World Cup.
That's it for mid-season predictions.
Do you
we'll
think
be
I
back.
said Messi won't win the World Cup?
No, you said it was easy to take the ball off.
No, I said...
What did you say in the green room?
No, I said Messi... my words were on Messi, that Messi now, from 10 years ago, he'd take the ball off him a lot more. That's exactly what I said. Some words along that.
Words along that.
No, also, he wasn't beating players like he used to.
Oh, like that fella he beat on the halfway line and then he took him into the box.
He went past Gvardiol on the halfway line and Gvardiol got back. What I'm saying is, Messi's an unbelievable player. But my point is, people were taking the ball off him. It was a fact. It's a matter of fact. You said Rashford should be sold by United. You said Conte should be at United. You said Martin should be playing in the Premier League. You're a disaster, man.
Should we do Ronaldo now as well? Right, that's it. More predictions next week.
Keep going at him, Arsenal fans. You're really getting to him on social media. Keep going at him.
They're not getting at me.
Yeah.
No.
Promos, please, director. Thank you.
Come on, United. Sorry, Nottingham Forest fans. Only did Notts Forest again.
He's talking about Newcastle. It's Southampton-Newcastle tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Wednesday night for Forest against Manchester United. 2 cracking Carabao Cup semi-finals. And if you fancy a bit more football viewing, then coming next here on Sky Sports Premier League, it's a Sky original Deadline Day, behind the scenes on football's transfer window.
Is that like a documentary, that? Or?
Yeah, it's very interesting. Behind the scenes in Sky Sports with agents and with players and clubs making big moves as well.
Oh.
I've watched it.
Yeah.
And I was watching tonight as well. Jamie and Gary available, by the way, to the highest bidders for the transfer window. Not sure we'll get many. Spurs have come through tonight, thanks to, not for the first time, Harry Kane. Bye from us.
Son, Fulham frustrated on the touchline as his side is on the back foot. Kane, critical! Just as he's always been. 266 for Tottenham and level with one of the men of 66, Jimmy Greaves. What a player he is for Tottenham, and an important win for Tottenham tonight. Victorious at Craven Cottage again by 1-0.